Okay, now what I want to do is go back to the story of Galileo. Remember, science isn't just something that, well, this is the way it works. It's human discoveries, right? And science is constantly making new discoveries, and there's stories behind it. And science builds on prior knowledge and using observations of the world to figure out how things work. Well, now this story here is like way back at the beginning of science, okay? And so we have this guy named Galileo, who we talked about before. Galileo and falling objects. Please write this down. Okay, this is the title here, because Galileo made a real interesting discovery when he was doing his experiments with the pendulum, and especially this one where the changing the mass didn't change how many times it swung in a minute. He was like, wait, how does this work? So he wasn't just trying to study pendulums, he's trying to study how things move, right? How do things move in this world that we have? What are the basic rules that govern it? And he made a discovery that you'd think would be kind of an obvious one once you know about it, but it wasn't obvious at all. And Galileo also, one thing he took pride in is he liked to make discoveries of things nobody knows before, right? Now, at his time, back in the end of the Middle Ages, he you had people in the universities teaching things, and Galileo take great joy and realize they're wrong. They're wrong. So basically, I want to go back further than Galileo to the person whose ideas that were being taught in the Middle Ages. Okay. So we have Aristotle, this guy here. Now, he was in ancient Greece. He's way further back than even Galileo. And in ancient Greece, man, the Greek civilization really is a really important civilization. I hope you guys study history and that you learn to appreciate the debt of gratitude we have to like Athens for things like democracy, for example. Anyway, Aristotle was one of the philosophers in ancient Greece. Please write this down. This means about 350 BC, 350 years before the year zero. Okay, and he's very influential. And his ideas, basically, he was so smart. His ideas were so brilliant that in the Middle Ages, people just accepted whatever he said must be true. It became sort of the official doctrines that were taught in during the Middle Ages. So during the Middle Ages, philosophers accepted Aristotle's ideas as true. And this is one way of looking at it, where how they thought you knew something to be true. Well, Aristotle said it. It must be true. Whereas Galileo was looking at it differently. He was saying, how do you know it's true? Well, you do experiments and find out what's true. And if Aristotle was wrong, then Aristotle was wrong. But the people in the Middle Ages weren't that happy with the idea that Aristotle would be mistaken. So here's one of his ideas, Aristotle's four elements. And just to show how influential he was and still is, these ideas are still around. Now, if you look at these little icons, can you tell what the four elements are in these little icons here? What do you got here? It's like, oh, that looks kind of like water. And that one's like fire. And it's like air or wind. And that's earth. Earth, air, fire, water. Where have you heard that? That's right, Avatar, right? The Last Airbender. Well, anyway, so this idea of earth, air, fire, and water is, on the zodiac and stuff. If you get, I don't know if you've ever heard of like, okay, what sign are you? Oh, I'm a Taurus. Oh, that's an air sign. So you don't want to be mixed up with somebody who's from an earth sign. There's opposite or whatever, So these idea of earth, air, fire, and water, that comes from Aristotle. And let me explain a little bit about what was meant by earth, air, fire, and water. It wasn't just some crazy idea out of the blue. It helped you understand things. For example, he thought of the universe as being, okay, here we are in this world of basically chaos and decay. Everything, comes to an end and there's conflict and everything's all mixed together, higgledy-piggledy. Well, if you have earth, air, fire, and water, the reason things move the way they do is they're trying to find their proper place in the order, in the harmony of the universe. This is Aristotle's way of thinking, right? It's just like, not, it might seem a little peculiar, but this is the way they thought of it. and you had a certain order and harmony, right? And at the bottom in that order is earth. So that's why objects made of earth tend to fall downward because they're trying to get to their proper place, right? And if you have water, a rock is going to sink in the water because Earth's proper place is below water. Water's proper place is above Earth. That's why rivers will run on the surface of the Earth and why spring will come up out of the Earth, right? So again, this is a way to understand the world. And it's not necessarily the way we have now scientifically, but it has a certain logic to it. Okay, so now you have Earth at the bottom, water, and then above that is air. Now, air, its proper place is above water, which is why air bubbles go upward through the water and why rain will fall down through the air, right? Trying to reach its proper place in the harmony of the universe. And then above that is fire, which is why fire goes upward. I don't know if you've ever lit a match and you hold it like this, it's okay because the flame, you go like this, it's going to burn you. Or, things like sparks will tend to fly upward. So those are the four elements. Now there is a fifth element called ether, but that's what the heavens are made of. Ooh, ether, this perfect. Okay, well anyway, but Earth is here in this realm. We have earth, air, fire, and water, and that's why things fall. Right? We think things fall because of gravity. They had no idea about gravity. That concept hadn't even been invented yet. We're going to get to Isaac Newton with the idea of the discovery of gravity as an explanation. Anyway, so Aristotle had his four elements, right?